now.
Thank you. So we'll call the meeting to order at 7:15. Right on time. Okay. We have no alternates to elevate, so that takes care of item 2. Have approval of the agenda. I'm not sure. Do we have to approve an
No.
agenda for a special meeting?
No, because it's set.
It doesn't change, it's set. So we also had public comment. Anybody want to say anything?
I
No.
guess since I'm the public, I'll just comment that it's been a really productive process putting together the presentation, and I'm glad I was able to be a part of it.
Thank you, Abigail. Appreciate that. Very good. Any other from the public? Okay, so let's go to item number 5, review of the budget presentation. I think everybody knows that we were, going back to trying to make our case again for having the recreational aid be part of the recreational leader be part of our budget. And I want to thank Abigail and Faith, who really spearheaded the committee, and then Kate and I sort of tagged along. And then also Matt, because over the last week, Matt got involved and took the slide presentation and filled it out with numbers that he put together from what we were told by Barbara Herbst were the right numbers. And so that's what we're going to present tomorrow. We have a 9-slide, 10-slide show thing to present to the Board of Selectmen. And I believe that we would love to have anybody who's free at 3:30 tomorrow afternoon to join us. Matt and I will be there to present this.
Will it be on Zoom?
It will be a Zoom. Is it hybrid or Zoom?
It's hybrid, so it's both Zoom and in person in the great meeting room in Town Hall.
Right. Lynn, do you have a preference for whether we come in or not?
I'd tell you it's a lot easier to hear if you're in person.
Okay. I mean, the Board of Finance tonight was very clear.
Oh, that's good to hear.
I thought, I sat in on that. So are there any other comments that you want to make about the presentation?
I just wanted to say that it's not because I'm not committed to this position or the information that I won't be joining tomorrow. It's just that I had a previously scheduled meeting and I can't move it. So my absence says nothing about my conviction for what we're asking for and the information we put together.
Thank you, Abigail. And again, thank you for all your time.
Rufus, are you guys going to share the presentation with the rest of the commission?
I don't know, Matt was gonna fix up a couple of the slides. I don't know, did you want to see it tonight, or do you want us to, we were gonna send it to the Board of Selectmen. Send it to you guys ahead of time.
I thought part of the reason for this meeting was so that the commission knows what's being presented tomorrow night.
you guys want to go through? I mean, we could, if that's what you asked for. We thought we'd already explained in earlier meetings the points we were making.
I think it's helpful for people to see the presentation so they know what the message. And there's something to the visuals combined with.
All right.
And there is, you know, the numbers are not different from what the request is. It's more about the messaging, correct? There's no change in the numbers.
I don't think so.
All the numbers are based on the budget information that's available. So that's where
Yeah.
those were drawn from. And certainly we were very careful to, you know, I mean, the commission charged the subcommittee with defending our request for the position based on revenue brought in and kind of the work that the director was doing. And we feel that our subcommittee took everything that the commission wanted to do into consideration and account, and that it's all reflected in the presentation that we'd like to make, frankly, first in front of the selectmen. There are myself, Matt, Rufus, Kate, and former Commissioner Abigail feel that we've represented the commission appropriately on the in the presentation.
But there are 3 people on the commission who have not seen this, right? At least 4, because John, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Actually, John was in
people.
attendance at one of our meetings as well.
For 15 minutes, yeah.
Well,
I just said that I think that you should just send it in. I trust what's happened, and we all put in our input a while ago. So I don't know. I think that should be the first showing of the budget.
Do John and Naomi have an opinion?
Yeah, I'd like to see it.
I believe Naomi is the
Yes,
iPhone.
I would also like to see it, please.
okay. Well, if that's the case, I guess,
All right.
Matt, if you could do that.
Absolutely. Just give me 1 minute. It is. I have so many different windows open at the moment, so just give me 1 moment. Trying to locate exactly where I put it. And here we go. All right, everyone. So this is the presentation that has been put together by the subcommittee. In this presentation, we're going to be making the case for the full-time recreation lead here in the department. And with the hard work of Abigail, Blythe, Kate, Rufus, and myself, I'm proud to really present this and really get some stuff underway to really make our case to the selectmen. Because last year I heard that from what I've read and what I've heard from everybody, it was presented and it passed through the selectmen and passed through the finance commission. However, it did not pass with the town. So it's time to make that case again and time to really hit it home that we're going to have this rec lead position really take charge in the town and really help not only just our current growth, but also to really show the growth for the next 5 years and to really help with that plan out from where we are right now. There we go.
I think that just to remind everybody that Park and Recreation is both parks and recreation. And it's 2 sides and they're equal in our minds.
Thank you,
Right.
Abigail. And to echo that, it is 2 sides. It is 2 pillars that make up this department. It's parks and recreation, not parks recreation. It's 2 things that stand together. And if one is crumbling, the other one can only support as much as it can before it crumbles as well. So speaking of one pillar recreation, the state of recreation today in Kent is absolutely fantastic. It's stellar. We've had so many new programs introduced. We've had programs resurrected from before 2017. And then we're maintaining programs that are stellar programs with past really strong numbers and participation pre-COVID, and they're still going post-COVID, and we're in the new world that we're in at the moment. So to really see recreation grow, it's fantastic. So with recreation growing means revenue is growing for the department, which is overall fantastic to see. We're still charging very low fees for programs, which is really great for the community, so they're not paying a very large surcharge to participate in our programs here in Kent. And they're able to access them in a very affordable way. Now, with that said, the current states of our park, they have been neglected for so long. With the amount of dedication to recreation, which is a fantastic pillar that we have in this department, the ability to maintain parks has gone to the wayside with the competing demands of the directors that have been in the chair that I'm currently sitting in many times before. When the competing demands of recreation with staffing coverage and having to ensure that certain things are taking place, things have to go to the wayside, which means parks are going to the wayside. They are a priority, however, they're not an immediate priority that needs to be addressed within the next 5 to 10 minutes. Unless it's something that is like a river is overflowing or there's a fire, something that is going to be an exigent circumstance. In this situation, looking at parks, noting that the shed needs to be painted, that's not an exigent circumstance, but it's starting to deteriorate and rot. The ball fields, a lot of things at Emery Park with the park bench, with the gates, with the sand and the pool itself and the park itself, looking at the ramp going up, looking at the ball fields and just the current conditions of the ball fields. One thing that's not pictured here, but one thing that is being addressed in the relative future is going to be the drainage at Kent Commons, but that's one thing that has been pushed to the wayside. And as much as we can go ahead and get funding for all these things to be replenished and back to the way that they have been or in better condition, we're not going to have the ability to maintain those if we do not put in the effort to have somebody maintain those and have somebody with oversight with these specific items. Having parks maintained means a lot of energy and effort put into them. 3 parks here in town, that's a lot for just one person to manage on top of recreation. Emery Park is a beautiful park, but requires a lot of work. Kent Commons is a beautiful park in a very small space, but also requires a lot of work. And that said, the fields at the Kent School, they require a lot of maintenance and work and a lot of upkeep, especially for baseball and soccer season. So if we're not going to be able to put in the effort to do that after we replenish and revitalize everything, we're only going to be doing ourselves. So in echo of that, the snapshot in the past 6 years of what has been going on here in Kent, looking at the timeline that was developed by the committee and myself, we were able to really piece together what has gone and how much growth we've done in the past few years. Now, we found ourselves in a reactionary position, even though we tried to strategically plan. Having go through 3 directors in the matter of 4 years is a very large amount of turnover. It's a lot of energy and effort focused on trying to hire the right person. And in addition to that, it's trying to align goals and to align projections. So the department and the commission really worked in tandem to ensure that programs were being taken care of, that recreation was still happening here in Kent, but we were also trying our best to ensure that maintenance was being done here in our parks. Looking at the way everything is, one thing that was challenging for a lot of the directors that have been in the chair that I sit in right now was having that extra person, having that full-time lead. The current job duties, they are fantastic. However, having the support of another person being able to tackle these things alongside me would definitely demonstrate that we'd be able to tackle things in a timely manner. We'd be able to address things to the utmost respectability and make sure that things are done with punctuality and done with enough information to support what we're currently doing and also plan for the future. If park directors in the past and park and recreation directors in the past are having trouble with staffing and having to cover everything and having to drop what they do, unfortunately, that work's not going to get done. And if that work doesn't get done, it gets pushed back and gets pushed to the wayside with other emerging priorities. So things that need to be tackled are then pushed to the wayside and aren't addressed, such as our parks. And that is something we as a department and as a community need to fight for to ensure that it's not happening again. Having that full-time person will help ensure that this doesn't happen. Now, looking at our current operating structure here in our parks, it's comprised of myself as the director and then numerous part-time employees. With our numerous part-time employees, one person, number 7 on our list, which is our green dot if you're looking at the screen, that is our part-time maintainer who's contracted with us. So this individual is not necessarily on payroll. They are contracted and paid a check after their maintenance. So this person does not currently work an hourly rate, does not with the department specifically. They charge us for their maintenance and fees from there based on an agreed upon contract that went for bid with my predecessor. Now, to maintain recreation here in Kent, we are seeing such a boom in recreation, and we can see much more of a boom. But in order for us to ensure that this boom is going to continue and it's going to be maintained and sustained, we need to ensure that there's going to be one person to assist with recreation in a full-time capacity. This person would be able to aid with program development and hosting programs, as well as subbing in for individuals who need assistance when they call out of programs and when we have our staffing concerns. So right now we are on an operating budget for our department with the part-time and full-time director at $42,400. This is Abigail, you want to jump in?
No, that's just for the part-time support. That doesn't include
Gotcha.
the director's salary.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Sorry, that is for the part-time support. So this is the part-time support. It's a rounded rough number of 42,000 from the fiscal year 23 budget.
When we say rounded,
fiscal year
the
actual
numbers are
budget.
just rounded to the nearest 100.
Yep. So looking at that again, the number is 42,400.
Matt,
Yes.
there's only usually, isn't there only usually one recreation aide on with the director? Are there, that looks like there's 2 rec aides on I think it's, I don't think it's like 2 rec aides are on every day though. I think that.
Yes and no.
Ken?
Some days we do have 2 rec aides on, and then that's also just showing how many rec aides we have hired with the department sometimes too. So having, for example, Mondays and Wednesdays, Becca has 2 additional aides on with her because of the number of people. We can make delineation of that in the slide to outline that we have 2 rec aides on occasionally, but if that's something that we really want to press on, we could go that route if needed.
We
But
wanna
the
just
number
get
here
the-
shows that we have 2 people, regardless of what their hours are, that there are 2 rec aides for ASB.
Sort of like assigned. Yeah. Okay.
Which aggregates to the 9 part-time people that the director oversees.
Perfect. Thank you, Abigail. All right, so to continue on to the proposed. So our proposed operating structure is introducing this recreation lead, which was introduced last year. The benefit of having this person, they're going to be taking on a lot of the role that would be administrative, but also focused on recreation. So advertising and communicating programs, which is something I have identified as a current outlier of the department, that it is not necessarily effectively communicated for programs and activities that are going on in town. There could be different ways to communicate things, and I definitely want to enhance those communications. However, looking at the timeline for those, such as program brochures and program pamphlets, it does require a little bit more time. So having some structure behind that and having somebody who's taking the lead on that in addition to the role that they're doing, it can create a little bit of a delay in their ability to continue getting work done and being able to effectively get things tackled, such as planning new programs, tackling the parks, and making sure that the maintenance is conducted in the parks with a full, with a team behind them. So this rec aide would be taking on the advertisement and communication of programs and events in the community. This will also in tune increase the quality and quantity of programs. So imagine we have 2 buildings. We have recreation and parks. Recreation was built strong, and parks is starting to really need some development. If we could focus all our energy on parks, and not anything on recreation, it's going to start to crumble. So that quality and quantity is going to start to dissipate and disappear, and that gleam to these new recreation programs and what's going on is going to start to shed away from that shine. So having this person, it's going to increase the quality and quantity, and it's also going to help with that longevity of our current programs, which is fantastic. This person can spend more time developing town events and more opportunity with community connections, seeing that there's so much potential in Kent, seeing that there's so many business opportunities and so many fantastic things going on here in the town. Having somebody who is limited to limited to doing as much as they can within a day and not having that second person available, it limits our ability to make those connections and to really grow what we have going on in the department and here going on in town. So we really want to enhance what we're doing. In addition to that, this is going to be spent more time on new programs, maintaining current programs, increasing the revenue for the department. Within tune, increasing revenue and increasing those number of programs, it's going to start paying for itself. So we're going to start seeing the pay for this full-time person. We're going to start seeing pay for my salary per se. We might see pay for other things that are going on in the department, which will help reduce that budget item that we have. With that for expenses, and reducing that budget item for expenses can really impact the mill rate. It might be, minuscule at the start of it, but ultimately it could really do some success with having that mill rate reduced, which is something that a lot of people in town are starting to have a conversation about, I've noticed, and something that it's a buzzword for me, hearing mill rate. And I want to make sure that, having this proposal is not something that's going to just increase the mill rate and keep it up. It's going to be something that we're asking for a new person and a very, a jump in expenses for the department for salaries. And then we're going to hope, and we're not going to hope, we're going to make sure that this is maintained and the reduction of expenses is going to take place because it's going to be offset by the revenue. As well, it's an opportunity for growth. It lays the foundation to increase new program offerings after school, on breaks, on weekends. These are target times that we're missing opportunity on, because these are target times for myself to jump in and say, we don't have a program. I can go and get all my office work done. Not there's a week off of school. This is a perfect time. I can go get more kids involved in an after school program, or I can go ahead and get some kids involved in a vacation camp style activity at the school when the school doesn't have school, and we can go ahead and host essentially childcare for people that work and give them the opportunity to send their kids somewhere so that, one, they're engaged, two, they're involved in the community, and three, they're making friends and having fun. In addition to that, it allows for a stronger focus on both parks and recreation, setting one slip to the side, and it allows for each position to accomplish assigned duties without deferring maintenance or deferring any sort of planning. Looking at those pictures before, capital can only do so much. You can only plan so much. Maintenance of it all is going to be something that's key and essential, and that's something that's been slipping, and we need to make sure we don't have slip. I finished with the slides, so if there's any questions or comments, happy to talk about them.
I think it's going to be important to reiterate the role of planning in all of this, because not all deferred maintenance is equal, and having a vision for how these parks will be programmed and utilized can then inform where we invest, where the commission invests its money and asks the town to invest money, because it's a part of a long-term plan for the future of the parks.
Yeah.
It's just not going to be whack-a-mole.
That's a great point. I have a couple of things.
Sure.
You just mentioned Kent Center School, and when Kent Center School is closed, you'd like to be able to do stuff on. You could say something like that, but you would have to couch it in that right now, when Kent Center School is closed, Park and Rec can't use the building.
Gotcha.
So-
Okay.
It would have to be alternate, what we talked about unofficially was trying to create alternate programs in probably like the community center,
Right, community house, yeah. That
but,
makes sense.
you
Or even town hall, but not
right.
in the school, unless they change their policy where they will open up for the town. Some towns do that. Some towns,
Yeah, I think Cornwall does that. So
Yeah,
I think
they
it's
do.
definitely something we could look into.
they do allow the Park and Rec to use it on the weekends. They allow it used during other times. So
It's
and
during the
which-
week also.
you could say something like, we'd like to investigate with the Board of Ed and the principal, you know, expanding use of Kent Center School, but right now it's not allowed.
Okay, no, thank you for
Um,
that info.
Yeah.
But it used to be with Adams League basketball, used to be on Saturdays and they use the gym at the school. So that has been in the past been used on the weekends.
Good to know.
In the
So that means
past,
it's
it
a
was.
good- Okay, no, and that's a good standpoint. So that would
Yeah,
be if
it
I
was
do-
in the past, yes, in the past, they did open, it was a different administration, but they did open it for basketball on Saturdays.
Currently, Cornwall, I know, you know, because I've been there in the last couple of weeks. I know they have the adults using the gym on an evening, I think on like Thursday evening. So I
Mhm.
definitely think it's something we should be able to do in Kent.
But
Perfect.
it just takes a little negotiation, I think.
Yes,
Right.
correct.
Perfect.
Thanks
Well,
for being here, Kate. I have a few other things that I just want to make sure, and I'm not saying this to be negative in any way. I just want to make sure that we're putting the best foot forward.
Yeah.
Senior programs, you have on the slide that listed the different types of programs, water aerobics and Tai Chi are listed as senior. They're not necessarily senior programs. They may, and I know it might be confusing because like the way they are in my rec, I think might say water aerobics senior, but I think that's open to anybody who wants, any adults that want to be part of it.
Matt, I could help live edit if it's useful. If you
Yeah, I'll definitely take
want.
that, Abigail. Thank you. So yeah, let's senior Tai Chi, senior water aerobics are the two, and then what was the third one?
Those two.
Those
are-
two? All right,
are
thank you.
water
Well,
aerobics.
senior water aerobics is for seniors.
Yes,
But it's open to anybody.
I
you know,
believe there is an
uh,
age restriction on that. Actually, now that give me one moment. Let me-
Okay, well, I wasn't aware.
No.
and you can also add bunko to that too.
Oh, bunko, great.
Oh, yeah.
Is that
Yes,
senior
brand new.
bunko?
Yes, it is.
And
Bunko for
Ruma
anybody.
Rumacube. Is that not
Oh,
on
yeah.
here either?
And yes, you're right.
UNCO. Hey, Matt, do you mind exiting out of presentation mode just so I can show everybody the edits? So
Sure.
senior bunko, and Karen, you had something else to add?
It was what should I, oh, and
Rummy,
Rummy Cube or
Yeah, it's spelled RUMMIKUB.
IKUB. And that's
Yeah.
another senior program?
Yep.
yes, and then we're going to also add Mahjong in March, but we haven't added it yet, so it's not
Yeah, I
a
wouldn't put it
program
in yet.
that's added yet.
We haven't approved it, so.
Right.
We won't
No,
do
no,
that.
I'm just saying, it's for future.
Yeah.
We're already thinking future.
Great.
So the program for aqua aerobics is designed for seniors, but is for anybody who's 50 years of age and older. So
So in Kent, we
Seniors are
define
those-
senior as 60 plus, so it's
Okay.
available to adults.
the Zoom meeting is going to end in 10 minutes. So
Oh.
for strategy purposes, I'm using the town's Zoom account.
But there shouldn't be any restriction.
Apparently there is. It's not upgraded to pro. So I'll have to
That
talk to
shouldn't
it
be
about
like
that.
that. Well, I will just quickly say, when you mention the fields, don't say Kent School, say Kent Center School.
Kent Center
just
School,
a-
thank you.
I also think your dates on the columns with the different dates are wrong, because I believe Leslie resigned in 2021. Jared was hired in January of 2022. And there's,
Abigail was before that. Abigail was before that.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, I'm sorry. Wasn't your friend there? She was in.
I was gonna say, I think Miranda was
Miranda,
interim
right.
director in 2020.
right?
No?
I think Leslie resigned in 2021.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. I think she was, 2019. I thought she
So
was
how many months did Miranda serve?
6, I think. I'm
Maybe,
not sure.
yeah, at
Because-
most a half a year.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was 2021. Because Jared was hired in January of 2022. Am I wrong?
I thought Leslie,
Are you sure he wasn't hired in 21? January
No,
21?
let's see.
Because he
Yeah,
was
I
only
guess-
here for 2 years. And he left it in December of 2023.
Because
No, I think, you know what, Lynn, it was such a black hole of a time. Thank you. I think you're correct. You're correct. Leslie left in 2021. And we hired, so this, I would say that the column,
that doesn't seem right. I mean, I feel
I
like
know, I
I
feel like,
I feel like we were navigating alone through COVID.
I know, but Leslie
so
definitely was active
when
in
I
2021.
joined the commission in 21 in November, Miranda was no longer there. We were looking for a new director.
and also Leslie, when she, whatever date, but I know that she was out for many months before an
Yeah.
official, yeah.
She basically bowed out the summer of 2020
Yes.
is when she started to
And a lot of the problem
disengage.
with after school programs and stuff was in 2020 when there was no director. And
Right.
because I know Lynn Harrington was desperate trying to find people at that point. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
From what I found through archives in the Republican American, it says that Leslie vacated the position in March of 2021.
March of 2021.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So you're
The position was vacated in March when
Oh, we
Director
were
Lindsay
really
Ferris
busy
resigned.
in 2021. So we hired Jared in 2022.
Yep.
right. Okay.
But Leslie wasn't here in 2021.
She resigned in March.
Right, but she wasn't working.
No, but
Yeah,
you
she
had,
was,
you had Miranda for 6 months. There was
Yes.
Miranda for 6 months in the
Right.
interim. My point in bringing it up is I just want us to be accurate. I don't want us to be
No,
criticized.
That's good.
Mhm. Yep, that's really helpful.
Yep, and then Miranda resigned in the fall. Based on the article, it says an interim director was hired for several months but resigned in the fall.
And Jared was hired he started in
January-
February of 2022,
January of
January.
2022,
and he resigned.
December 2023.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, no, at time just really slowed down during this time. So thanks, Lynn. That's
Okay,
really
there was
helpful.
also a typo in the 2021 column, the word increase, I think, increases.
Lost.
Maybe it's changed now. 'cause
I
things
moved it to
around.
2022 because
Oh,
we
okay.
didn't increase any program in 2021. We were just barely getting
Yep.
by.
Yeah, well, it was the tail end of COVID.
I think I deleted that line because it was duplicative.
Okay.
Maintained, actually, we increased programs.
Yeah.
And we maintained the growth. No, we continued to increase programs because we
Yes, we
added
Increased
a lot of
programs.
stuff.
It's
Yeah,
good.
we added a lot. Great.
Awesome. One thing
Yeah.
I think it would be
Speaks
important,
volumes that 2020 is empty.
we haven't really talked about this concept, but after talking with, having a couple conversations with Samantha of Social Services and the Senior Center, I think that if the town, a lot of seniors have said they want to do trips. And I think one of the selling points for the recreation leader could be that this person could assist with trips for seniors and adults. Because the social services folks don't see that in their future based on a conversation they had with the selectmen. And I think that would be a good selling point.
Oh, that'd be an excellent selling
Yeah.
point.
Yep, or not Lynn, Karen, you and I were talking about that at Bunko last week.
Right, right. I know that's what they're, a lot of them are looking for, are trips. And, although we can always piggyback on another town's,
Mhm.
week trips, you know, like going to Alaska or whatever. They wanted, a lot of them wanted day trips somewhere, like
Right.
they were talking about the casino, and they were talking about, you know, museums and things like that. So that's what, I mean,
So-
I'd like to personally go to Italy, but, you know, but I mean, it's just, you know,
So
Yeah.
potentially that we could hire that person and say, you need to get a public service license.
Yep.
And be able to drive a bus, and hopefully we will be able to get access to a bus.
Yep.
Well,
Um,
Warren does that. Warren does that.
Yep. We also do
and-
have the van behind the school or on the side of the school that isn't utilized, so that could be a great, I mean, start small with that and we can grow from there, driving a bus too.
Do you mean the 14 passenger vehicle? That's
Yes.
really considered a bus, not a van.
Oh, okay.
I don't know
But
that they have a van. They may have a
But-
van, but
but that's Kent Center School, correct?
right.
Yep.
But Marty has said he wants to figure out a way to be able to use it.
Okay.
So
And also, I've talked to the Warren Park and Rec person, and would like to meet with Matt too, and Matt and I were talking about it too, so. So he was saying, you know, if we can't fill a whole bus, we might be able to fill a bus with Warren and Kent together.
Can I just
So-
interrupt here and say that we have less than a minute on the Zoom, and what are we gonna do when we lose our time?
you should be able to just end it and rejoin. That's my understanding.
All right, so I will end it and then I'll rejoin it. So let me just go ahead and stop sharing the screen just to go ahead and conclude that. And I'll go ahead and start the recording of the next one once that starts up.
Okay.
All right, thank you all. Sorry for the inconvenience.